Hey guys, Ruckus again. Here I am working on an Ash piece. I am a major fan of Pokemon, and that is my dog snoring. So there's that. Anyway, I'm a major fan of Pokemon. I remember back in the day when Red and Blue released, and I couldn't believe my eyes. It just sounded so amazing. Of course, I was in a broke family. Broke as hell. So I couldn't buy it. Way too expensive to buy a game. But there was this kid in my class that I was really good friends with, and I found out that he had the game, and I just had to ask him to play it. So he let me play a couple battles and told me that he absolutely hated the game. He said it's the worst game ever developed. It will go nowhere. It is a dead-end road. Well, I took advantage of that because I had 3 games, not one, but 3 Game Boy games that I could trade him. I think it was, well, I don't remember the other 2, but I do remember it was Wario 3, and that was probably the best game I had ever played. So I do regret getting rid of that. But the fact that I had Blue version maybe 1-2 weeks after it released, oh, I was on top of the world. I went home, played it with my 2 brothers and sisters. They just all gathered around and we played through the first probably hour of Pokemon Blue. I think we got to Brock before we had to stop playing the game and do our homework and all that stuff. Anyway, this is forever ago. But the point of that is, I've been with Pokemon since like the second week it released, and then soon after the anime started airing on TV, which was amazing. I got to watch the first 20 minutes of it. Well, not 20 minutes, but 20 minutes of the hour, so there was probably about 5 minutes left, and then I had to leave for school. So I never really saw the end of Pokemon anime episodes because I was always gone. But the rest of my family was homeschooled, and they got to finish it, so I lagged behind there. But now I can watch them all on Netflix because I'm an adult and I can pay for it. So I guess I won on the end. Anyway, I loved Ash Ketchum. He was so cool. I was like, man, I gotta be that kid. Of course, as a kid, I didn't realize that he was kind of dense, but that doesn't matter. My childhood memory will stick forever, hence why I'm doing the art piece. So the one I'm currently working on, I wanted the same thing of throwing a Pokeball because everybody just, you gotta throw the Pokeball out and start the battle. It's great. It's awesome. Obviously, it's one of the highlights of the game because, well, there wouldn't be too much of the Pokemon game if there wasn't battling. Although there's way more now. I haven't played through a lot of them recently. I think I played Blue, and I played Silver, and then kind of dabbled here and there with my siblings' games. But I don't think I ever really beat a Pokemon game. I always got right up to the end and either did beat it, and I have no memory of such things, or I never finished. Which, since the Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu, I have now been playing through, and I will, for the first time, beat a Pokemon game and remember it. I've already done it before. But anyway, so here I'm working on this art piece. I wanted to throw the Pokeball. I took a few reference shots. I literally just grabbed a baseball and acted like I was throwing it, and then had my sister take a couple pictures of different angles and then use those as a reference to be able to get an idea on what was going on. And then I just kind of sketched it out from there. And then, of course, I have some reference pieces of Ash. I went through quite a few. I was going to draw him originally as I remember him as a kid, but I realized that is hella 90s. Not really the style anymore. I do like the new Ash designs. Obviously, I'll always love the original Ash designs, but the one from, I think it's X and Y with these pants, was really cool. I almost considered doing the new one where he's got like those jogger short things on, but I don't know. I'm a pants guy. You rarely see me not wearing pants. Not wearing pants? I'm always wearing pants. I hate shorts. The worst thing in the world, unless I'm doing working out or something like that, or major yard work because I'm an adult now. I am usually in pants, and even then, I will usually be in pants. And there's my dog again, so apparently he wants to say hello. But you get no screen time today, sir. Anyway, so working through this piece, I wanted to do all digital. I've been mainly a traditional artist. I've done a lot of pencil work, not very much of it's online, but I've had the iPad forever, and I actually just recently upgraded my iPad. So I figured, why not? I might as well try to do a whole art piece. And there's a time lapse of the last one I did that was almost all digital. I did the line work. No, I take that back. I did just the sketching of the twins on paper and then imported and did the line work for it, which was the first time I did digital line work. So that was really fun. But this time I'm going all out with the digital, doing the preliminary sketches, the stick sketches. It was pretty rough. I didn't want to bore you guys. Even this is pretty boring to bother with, but I wanted to kind of speed it up. I already had the main idea going on, and you can see I'm working on the clothes here and just trying to get them as close as possible. Now, I personally don't really have a style. If I want to draw something, I'll just draw however I feel like it. And in this particular case, I wanted to get this as close to the Pokemon style as I could. It was really a goal just to see if I enjoyed it and kind of take that and twist it a little bit for my own art style as I develop it. But in doing that, I'm basically just trying to copy the exact clothes, styles, everything as close as I can and go from there. So now that I've finally finished the body and the clothes here, I'm jumping into the line work, which at this point I've done before. It's kind of the hard part of getting past the not working on pieces of paper is kind of over because I've already done digital line work. In fact, I did it a couple times. I did the twin pieces once as an art piece, and then I also did a Skillshare class on doing digital artwork in Clip Studio Paint for the iPad, or well, for computer too. They're identical. I use them both. Typically I'm only on the iPad, but I've used the computer style or the computer version immensely, and I still do access it. If I'm doing any kind of 3D models or doing any kind of developing of like chair models and then importing them into the Clip Studio for using on the iPad, I use the computer to do all the work, and then I export it over to the iPad and then do all my drawing on the iPad. So this is pretty easy from here. I know exactly what I'm doing, what I want to do, where I want to go. And the line work's pretty easy. I mean, there's not too much stylization into it when it comes to Ash, so this is kind of a piece of cake in this sense, but it's always fun to line art. It's easy, relaxing, you already know what you're doing or have a very good idea. And I used to actually finish all very hard line work, or all the sketchy side, before I did the line work, and then it was pure line work, just basically tracing. I kind of leave some of it up to the line. I'm like, I know what I'm going to do here. I don't need to finalize it now. I'll do it once when I'm doing line work instead of twice, which before I needed that. I really did need to finalize it before I started doing line work because I couldn't really think ahead per se. In the last year, with how many drawings I've been trying to pump out, not necessarily as a work, but as something that I just want to get through as many as I can so I can get to the good ones that I really want to do. And there's been a lot of good ones that I've already done, but I do really slow and I start stuff and then I leave it forever, then I never do it, and I don't really want to do that anymore. So if I'm going to do an art piece, I try to get it out within at least a month, when I used to spend 3 to 6 months on an art piece because I just didn't make drawing a priority. Hands are kind of interesting. I looked at a lot of hands for this piece. I looked at a lot of stylized hands. Of course, I started with real reference, so I took as many pictures of my hand as I could, which I don't have on the screen. I actually had those strewn across my computer screen, and then I was just looking up and referencing those. But then once I kind of got an idea on what hands look like, even though we all know what they look like, but like I knew what they looked like and I really got my head into that space of I'm drawing a hand. Then I started looking into a lot of stylized hands and kind of playing with that. How much information do I want to put into hands? I looked, of course, at the Pokemon styles. I looked up every Pokemon character I could think of, and then there's a few others. I'm watching through a few anime, so I went through and looked at some of the ways that they draw their hands and kind of did a merger of what I wanted and how smooth and not defined I wanted to do the hands. So that was kind of fun. Which I'm watching a lot of anime right now. I actually just finished Death Note. That was pretty fun. That was a good one. A little intense for some audiences, I think, but which is a funny story. I actually hated Death Note. Man, I saw my brothers and sisters and siblings were watching. I was like, this is pure hell. But now that I watched it, I think it's pretty good. In fact, I watched the live action Netflix version of it first. That was pretty cool. I enjoyed it. Which, I know it's not the anime, but from a guy who doesn't know anything about the anime of Death Note, I thought it was pretty good. Which got me interested in watching the actual Death Note, so I guess in a sense it was effective. So that was great. Anyway, great anime, intense. Kind of forgot it was an anime by the end. I felt like I was watching an actual show. It's really well written, really enjoyed that. On the topic of Netflix doing covers, they also did the Bleach, which I also thought was going to be a stupid anime. I was like, I'm not going to watch that. In fact, I like a lot of slice of life stuff, so I usually wouldn't go to the fighting, spiritual, manly, I guess? Is it manly? Anyway, creepy, weird. Anyway, I like to see the stuff where they're actually in cities, they're living their everyday life, so branching out to that was, can't do that. But when they did the live action Bleach version, I was like, this was enjoyable. This is enough to get me to go watch it. And I have finished now the 3rd season of Bleach, the anime, and I'm a little addicted. Except the fact that I don't have access to the rest of them, so I'm going to have to shell out and purchase the anime because I like to support artists. Because I understand how hard it is to make money as an artist. So I'm going to go purchase the rest of the DVDs so I can watch them. But yeah, Netflix did good in getting me into the Death Note and the Bleach. That was pretty cool. But so I used hands from Death Note. I used hands from Bleach. Another one I'm watching is One Piece, which I did not realize there's, I don't know, was it like a year's worth of episodes if you watch straight? It's a lot. Maybe 9 months. It's a lot of anime. Anyway, so I looked through a lot of the ones that I'm watching right now, kind of got an idea on hands. I was looking at shoes, how often did I want to put more details in, how often did I want to just get rid of details altogether. So the shoes were really fun to do, enjoyable. Creases I always have a problem with. I don't want to draw paper dolls, but I've noticed to put too many creases in there, it just looks poor. Not poor. That's what I was as a kid. Terrible. Let's go with terrible. Anyway, I really like to put a lot of creases on clothing, especially since I did a lot of what is it called? Realistic drawing, super realistic pencil work. So getting rid of a lot of the extra details is actually quite difficult in pieces that I do. I didn't find so hard to do on this one, but I did want to keep adding lines. And as you can see, I put some more red lines in there that I actually ended up adding. I got rid of a few, so it's never bad to have more details and then just don't use them when you go to line art. So I actually was using a lot of Procreate, which is a great application, but I found it held me personally back quite a bit. But it does a great job with circles. And so while I was working on this in Clip Studio, I was having a real hard time doing it, which I found a better way to do it since I've done this art piece. But during this art piece, I had quite a problem doing that circle. That was a little rough. I was also very distracted. I like to play fetch with my dog while I'm drawing. So, needless to say, I'm very distracted when I draw. I also Google stuff. You guys ever sit there and you're really focused on drawing or doing whatever you're doing, and then YouTube happens or Google? Man, I never get back to what I'm doing. It's terrible. Anyway, back to topic. So I'm blasting right through this line work. As you can see, I hop back and forth to the pen tool and the erase tool. And right now I'm actually working in the vector layer, which I did not realize till, well, the last piece I did, the twins piece, that a vector layer even existed. I discovered that. Someone tweeted it out on their Twitter, and I was amazed, absolutely amazed what you could do with vector layers in Clip Studio. So I pulled my drawing up right away. And what did I draw? I think it was something from Dragon Quest, that little gumdrop thing or something. Anyway, something simple to kind of play around with it. And I've never gone back. I will never do line work on a raster layer again unless there's a very good probable cause if you're a villain chilling. Anyway, so if you're using Clip Studio and you have not done the vector layer, you should do it. it's fun, it's great. You can use the pin tool. I like this G pin really, really well. It's quite enjoyable to use. If I'm doing hair, I'll switch over to the, oh, I'm going too fast. What is it? The width effect or something like that. There's a really good tool for that. It really tapers the ends, makes doing hair extremely easy. But anyway, the nice thing about vector is you can draw over the top of lines, and then you use the vector erase tool. So you just go to the eraser and erase with the vector tool. Anyway, you can basically trim it off. So if a line crosses another line, you select it with your eraser with the shorter line, it cuts all of that line off, but it leaves the other side. You can see me doing this. I'm hopping back and forth pretty quick, but anyway, it's great. Here's me struggling yet again to do another circle. Hence, then I've obviously found that better way, but oh, it was brutal. I actually had to go over to a raster layer for doing this because I didn't know any other way to do it. That's difficult. And then later I think I ended up rasterizing my vector layer line art toward the end so I can merge them all together and do my own thing. But still pretty easy to do, you know, within reason. It's way easier than hand. Man, using compass or trying to do a in perspective compass can be pretty rough. But anyway, if you look at my pin tool, there it is, for effect line. That's what I like to use for hair. It makes hair so easy. I don't even have to think about it. Getting those tapered edges are perfect. And then you can see even with the tapered edges, you can still go in, select it, rework your line. I don't know how much I did it on this one. Well, I guess I did it quite a bit. Once I put a line down, I can really dial it in. Even if it's nowhere near what I want, I can get it close enough and be like, I can work from that, and then design it from there. I made this mistake. I decided to draw normal on my wrong layer, and I ended up doing a whole lot of cleanup on these eyes afterwards because I was drawing blue on top of my vector layer. I think it was a vector layer at this point. But don't do that. Pay attention to your layers. Be organized. It really saves it. I am pretty obsessive about my organization. Unless I kind of get off on a little tail or, you know, running off on a thought, then I won't think too much about organizing. But it sure saves yourself later. So what I ended up doing is I liked this idea that I saw for drawing eyes, and I thought I'd kind of develop that a little bit more. It's not quite what I like to draw anime eyes as, but it's probably my favorite thus far. So I'm kind of just adding these in, putting my own twist on Ash. I know I was saying I wanted to get as close to the Pokemon style as possible, but I did want to play with the eyes. The Pokemon eyes in a fine art piece are kind of creepy. They're those thin little weird looking oval things. Anyway, I thought this would bring a little bit more style to the eyes, so I put those in there and kind of had an idea of what I wanted to do and just developed from there. Here I'm doing this rather harsh cleanup on there. See how it was over the top? I ended up having to redraw it a couple times and do some trimming, then I messed that line up. But yes, definitely be organized. It'll save you from doing this sloppy, messy thing. But anyway, this is pretty much about the end of this line art here. So we'll wrap it up for now, and I'll put together the colored side of the piece for this, and I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.